In this lesson, we're going to look at the piano for Next to Me. Now, if you look at the spec, you're allowed 3 pieces of audio for this track. One of them has to be the main vocal, and then you can choose 2 others. So I'm probably going to use I'm going to use the main vocal obviously, and then I'm probably going to use a backing vocal, and I'm going to use this piano as one of my main audio ones. The reason I want to use the piano is because I just feel that it will be so much more, it will give the piece so much more life with a live piano, one that's actually been played in. Now the piano that I've used for this is just a straight clavinova sound, so we haven't actually used a microphone for this. We've used some direct input which just went straight into the back of the mixer. It's given us some clean signal, and it's exactly what we need, and it's been really easy to control the levels in. We've done some extra processing, but in terms of getting the signal in, it was fairly clean, and it's going to make it very easy to mix into our piece. The requirements of the spec specifically say that the audio tracks you record must blend seamlessly with the MIDI tracks. So this one is going to fit in very, very easily, very, very well, and it's going to be fine. So let me just play you my piano track, and then we'll play you theirs, just so you can hear it. And we'll take it from the verse, just so you get an idea of what's going on. Now, the piano track that I'm using is fairly block chordy. It doesn't have some of the more fancier parts in it. That may hinder me a little bit in the process. If you can get a piano player that can play the fancier parts in, fantastic. Remember, it's a recreation, so you're trying to get the part as close to the original as possible. There will be some give and take on this part, but not a lot, so just keep that in mind. So from the verse, here's their one first.
You won't find them drinking under tables, rolling dice or staying out till 3.
Okay, so it's a nice, bright, kind of classic piano sound. It's nothing too complex there. Here's my one, and we'll just I'll solo it so you can hear it. Okay, so that's it, nice and simple. Like I say, mostly block chords. If you need the piano chords to be able to play this in, remember they are in the first lesson. There is a score there that you can have a look at and use to play these parts in. Now, as said in the previous lesson, there is a little bit of interplay between the drums and the vocal on this part. If you remember, the drums were predominantly in the left ear, and it was this piano part that was going over slightly in the right ear. So you're getting that kind of bounce between the percussion sounds and this very percussive piano. So keep that in mind. I've dropped it down in the mix ever so slightly. It is quite prominent, but it does drop back. But once we add the vocal in, you'll see that that'll drop back even further, so it's not really a problem. We've added the same reverb across the mix as we did before, so it's just this Space Designer live chamber. I'm getting to the point now where I may actually start looking at this again and change this. If I do change it, I'll let you know, and you can update all yours. And because we're using a bus channel, it is literally, you change it once and it will change it across all the others anyway. So if you had used it as an insert, you're going to have to change it every single time. But because we're doing it as a bus, because we're doing it as an ascend, because we're doing it as ascend, we only have to change it once, okay? So then it'll update across the board. So if I do end up changing that, I will let you know, but it's looking that way that I might. So for the piano, what have I done so far? I've had to brighten it up a little bit. So here's my EQ. Let me turn it off so you can hear it without the EQ. And here's with. Okay, so it's just putting a nice little bit of shine on top. I have compressed it ever so slightly. I did want it to be slightly more prominent, and there were a few notes in there that were quite quiet, and depending on how if you decide to record this in as one of your live parts, depending on how your piano player plays this in, you may or may not need a lot of compression. I've just set mine at 3:1, and I've set the threshold at -21, and that's given me just a couple of dBs of gain reduction, approximately 5. And at the moment I haven't increased the gain to compensate against that, because I'm feeling that it's sitting okay, but if you wanted to boost the gain up, you could also. Okay, I've said about EQ, I've said about reverb, so that's pretty much it. That's how it sits in the track. Before we end this lesson and let you guys get on with it though. Let's play this part with all the other drums just so you see, and then we'll listen to the Next to Me so you get an idea of how this is starting to shape. Now it's still quite empty, there's still a lot to go in there, and once we put the vocals in the next lesson you'll start to see this taking more shape. And I think it can be quite disheartening when you listen to it, and I'm finding this at the moment, when you listen to it and it's still kind of like, oh, this is still so bare, it's still missing pieces. And you do have to keep into consideration that actually all the parts are not in there yet. We still haven't got the bass in there, and we still haven't got a couple of the other parts, so it is still quite empty. But as we get the more parts in, it will start to take shape. And this is what I keep saying to you, is actually, although we've set up a basic mix across all of our channels, we will probably have to come back and do a bit more mixing and to make everything sit as if it's in the same space, okay? So let me just show you what my piano and my drums sound like in their current state. Okay, so that's mine. That's where I'm at with this. Now let's listen to the actual song.
Fine, I'm drinking under the table. Rolling dice or staying out till 3. You won't ever.
And you can hear that actually, and I'm probably going to have to get this redone because there's some brighter notes there that are kind of playing that aren't in my piece, and actually I think that will go against me, so I probably will actually have to go back to the drawing board with this track and get some of those parts re-inputted, because if you listen to their track there is those nice notes that just fill up the piano part. Just listen again, see if you can identify some of them.
You won't find I'm drinking under the table.
Yeah, just there's some nice notes, and if you listen to mine you'll notice that those notes are not there, so that is going to go against me, so I am going to go back and get that part redone. Just have a listen, because I'm noticing it more and more now. Yeah, it's up the octave. It needs something extra there. It's just not there. I'm going to have to go and do that. Okay, well with that in mind, I think this is a fantastic part to record in. I think the piano just gives it that much more life. Remember, you are looking for a replica, so you will have to kind of put that into play. And I'll see you in the next lesson when we finally add the vocals in. Okay, give it your best shot.